Is this going?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your like official title?
So I'm an aesthetic nurse, and I have a certified aesthetic nurse specialist license, like certification. That sounds terrible. So you can just say aesthetic nurse.
Okay.
Aesthetic nurse. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I didn't know like if different RNs had different specialties.
So there's different specialties in nursing in general. So I have a certified aesthetic nurse specialist certification that took me 2 years to get, and I just got that in May.
Oh, nice.
I know. But I think
is that like online?
No, so it's like it's like a nursing organization. It's called iSpan, and so they basically make this entire. It's almost like I think it's like a club. Like I call it like a club, but it's this like whole thing that they make so that way it makes aesthetic medicine a little bit more accountable as nurses, and so they offer like a certification process to go through, and it takes about 2 years to do
that.
So
like people should look for that. If they want someone
in Indiana that I know of, I think there's only 5. It's called a CANS nurse. There's only 5 of us, I think, that I'm aware of. 5 or 6.
So the club is small.
It's a small club, but nationwide, though, it's huge.
Right.
So, like, I go to yearly, I go to a conference called iSpan, and there's, like, tons of certified nurses there, nurses and Ps that have that CANS certification.
So can people do aesthetics that are not nurses?
Yeah, so it depends on your state. So there's laws just like everything, but I always say like aesthetic medicine is like the wild, wild west. So in Indiana specifically, you have to be an RN, NP, PA, or an MD to inject, but there are
That's like a big
variety. So they're like loose laws though, because estheticians can technically inject that I'm aware of with an MD on site. So, I mean, it's like the wild, wild west. But there's other states like Florida, you have to be an NP to inject. You can't even be an RN. So
it's literally state
by state. And it's not enforced by anybody. So not even the State Board of Nursing enforces it, unfortunately. So it's literally the wild, wild west out there.
Be careful. Okay. All right. Are we ready?
Ready.
Intro time?
I think we just had our intro.
I know. We might have to play that at the beginning.
Yeah.
All right. We are here today with aesthetic nurse Carmen Puckett. Welcome.
Welcome to the Scuttlebutt Club.
We're very excited about this. This one's for the girlies. Actually, it's for the boys too.
Yeah, everybody can do it.
It's for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
everybody needs it, I feel like. So
yes. Okay, wait. We want you to tell us a little bit about your background, like where you started in this, because I know it wasn't aesthetics.
No. So I've been a nurse for 10 years. My background is mostly critical care. So I did med surg, which is like basically we get patients after surgeries. I did that for about 1.5 years after I graduated nursing school. And then I quickly transferred to ICU. Loved it. I left ICU completely in 2021 because I got pregnant with my first kid, and I just was scared post COVID and all of that. So I didn't want to deal with that. I've been working at Yoo Direct Health since 2019, and I started first just by being Lexi's nurse, and then we transitioned into aesthetics in 2020, and I've been injecting since 2020.
So what made you pick aesthetics? You just saw it when you were in there?
I've always loved beauty. So I never wanted to be a nurse, honestly, to begin with. I wanted to do hair. I wanted to do makeup.
But I'm you're really good at makeup.
Thank you so much.
Wait, where did you get a nursing
You're
school?
So pretty.
Stop it. So I actually went to nursing school at, it's called St. Elizabeth School of Nursing. It is a small nursing program that's put on by a hospital in Lafayette, Indiana. And then I had my bachelor's degree through St. Joe College, which is in Rensselaer. So they worked together. So St. Elizabeth gave us our accreditation, and then St. Joe gave us our bachelor's degree. But I think since St. Joe is actually closed.
Wait, I'm pretty sure I've talked to our neighbor, growing up, our house right next door to us, Elena Willis, about you before.
Oh my gosh, I went to school with her.
Yes. That's so funny.
What? Oh, nursing school.
Yes.
I'm you didn't
So I went to nursing school with her.
Where are you from? Because
so I'm from Attica, Indiana.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm you weren't Lafayette. You were okay.
Yeah, so I'm from Attica, Indiana. I lived in Attica my whole life, and then I went to college. I went 2 years in Ivy Tech because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah. And then honestly, I ended up just stumbling into nursing because one of my friends was I'll do this. And I'm well, I can probably do that too.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize until probably I would say 5 years into my nursing, like into doing nursing, that I could do something like this. And I only found out because I had a friend that I worked with on the floor, and she was like, yeah, like I get Botox from my girlfriend down the road. And I was like, well, that seems safe.
I know a lot of people still like
they
that.
do.
They're like, I
do.
just go to this person's house. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like their dentist. Is that weird?
I mean, so I think there's a lot of dentists out there that do a really good job.
But wait, are dentists doing here? Or are we just doing here?
So it just depends. It depends. So dentists can still inject as well. So
that's because if you have a license, you have a license.
So unfortunately, like I said, it's just the wild, wild west. So where I really try to get people to be like, okay, like know who's injecting you and know what you're getting injected with, because there was just something on the news about like botched Botox, and people were ending up in the hospital because they were going to these like house parties and whatever and getting injected just by somebody who took like a weekend course in certification.
How did they even get the Botox?
Your guess is as good as mine. Like you can buy, this is so bad. I hope nobody takes like this information and does it, but you can buy it from like overseas. But
like, again, you don't know what it is. Like, it's like drugs.
I promise you can fall down a TikTok rabbit hole. Basically, you fall down a TikTok rabbit hole, and I promise you there is so many people that are injecting themselves. Like there's a lady that I literally like fell down her page, and she learned how to inject herself, has zero medical experience. I think that her background is like a teacher, and she injects herself with product that she buys from Korea, and she does everything from like filler to peels to Botox.
Like just on herself, or just
on herself? People? I don't know if she does it on other people. She doesn't put it on social media, but I mean, it is terrifying. That's why I'm always like, you just have to know who's like injecting you, because there's a lot that can go wrong. There's a lot of anatomy into the face. I spend thousands of dollars just trying to understand like the anatomy of the face, as well as like learning like protocols of what to do if something goes wrong, which I've got extensive protocols if something goes wrong. So I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot of things that can happen, unfortunately. So hopefully none of that does, but
you're like in a good setting where you work if something did go wrong.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's people around you.
You're not at a house party.
And like you're a nurse.
Yes, we're not at a house party.
You're a nurse.
You know what to do. Like
where were you an ICU nurse and all that at?
Community North. So I worked here in Indy. I was an ICU nurse there for a little while, and I just was like I literally reached out to Lexi on like a DM, and I was like, I slid in there. And I was like, I didn't even know that she did functional medicine. So Yoo Direct Health is a functional medicine practice, and Lexi Yoo is the owner, and she is great at that. And so I like slid into those DMs, and I was like, how do I get into injecting? I didn't even know that she did anything else other than aesthetics. And she was like, oh, I'm looking for a nurse. If you want to come and work like a day a week, and then we can probably try to transition into something more. And then literally a couple months later, I took my certification class, and then started learning from her, and then going to trainings and practicing on patients. And so then it just kind of flourished from there.
I love it. Yeah, you've been inseparable ever since.
I know. You can't rip me away from it. There's no amount of money that will put me back at the bedside.
Would you want to teach eventually, like other people?
Yeah, I think so. I've recently been doing a couple things with her. I did a training called Med Masters, where I just talked about, I presented about microneedling. That was like my first thing that I did.
Wait, I think you did that to me.
Have I done that to you
Were
before?
you the model?
No. Oh. But like we drew my blood and then spun it.
Wait, I thought that was PRP.
So microneedling, so you can do it with PRP, but microneedling is like little tiny injuries to the face.
And
it's
then
like
you
a little.
The stuff
is that like
on
a pin?
And then did the.
It's been a while ago, but I think yes.
Long time ago.
Yes, I think yes.
We should preface this with our mom also used to work with you.
I love your mom.
I'm surprised she's not here. Hi, Janet.
I love her so much. She's just cute.
Oh, Lordy.
Honestly, though, your mom and your dad, though, together are the best. Like, I like your mom and your dad together.
On the pod, just like chit chat.
Yeah.
We went out to dinner with them to like a Mexican restaurant one time. It was like a bunch of us. And like, he just like walked on in, and he's just like part of the gang. He's so cute. I'm going to be honest. I have like a soft spot for cute old men, and he is cute. Not that he's old, but he's cute. He's cute. Sorry, Janet.
He's older than you, so that means he's old. It's fine. Okay, tell us like what, I know this is going to be very broad because your days are all different, I'm sure, but like what's like a general day look like for you on the job?
So we offer a lot of aesthetics. Tell
us that too, like what you offer.
Yeah, so we offer laser hair removal. We offer a range of injectables, so filler, biostimulators, PRP, Botox, Dysport. We do a lot of those. Hydrofacial is a service that we offer as well, which is a facial, microneedling, hair restoration. So we do have a wide variety of things. I do a lot of skin consultations, and I work with patients who have like whether anti-aging, acne, rosacea, so anything of that sort. So we do a lot of that, but day to day, honestly, it's a variety of all of that put together. So what I like that because I literally love
like you
all
don't have
aspects.
certain days for certain things.
No, it's everything.
Just appointments.
Yeah, back in the day, I used to actually help with some of the pellet procedures, IV procedures, things like that. And so there would be like, okay, today's like a pellet day, today's like an IV day, today's a aesthetics day.
Like knock
now,
it out.
Since we moved to our new building last January, I went full-time aesthetics as far as like 4 days a week instead of 3 days a week. And so now I only see aesthetic patients, which is really nice. I love the medical, but I love making people pretty more.
Yeah. I love that. I know. So
That's a really cool job.
I do.
You know?
I really like it. And you just get to have like good conversations.
And I feel like it's just like booming right now too.
Yeah.
Like
people are leaving the bedside so fast. I also feel like
people also, it was kind of like taboo before. And now it's like more like socially acceptable and people aren't afraid to talk about it or say like who their injector is or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just like all coming to this.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think this is a huge, like, I would almost say like in the last 5 years, like it's almost like a movement of people like trying to get healthier inwards and outwards.
Yeah.
And so I do think that those kinds of things marry a lot to each other. People are like running from the bedside. They're running from the hospitals because they just don't want to do it anymore. And this is the area that they're going to.
And isn't that like such a hard thing too, like mentally to be like bedside?
I
mean, I guess depending on where you are. I feel like where you are, it's like a happy, like, oh, we're making people pretty. Like you said, it's not like a downer. Like,
yeah, I loved ICU up until COVID. So I got my certification literally a month before everything shut down. And so we didn't know what that looked like. So I stopped working at the office for a couple months, worked just in the ICU. And then I was all good. Literally, I got pregnant in February of 2021. And I just was like, I just don't want to do it anymore. So that was like
because I feel like a lot of us are like becoming a mom like kind of changes everything.
Yeah.
Like,
that was like my exit strategy.
Stuff. Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
Plus, I didn't want to wear an N95 mask being like 9 months pregnant. You can't breathe in there anyways. So let's throw a mask on to a big obese pregnant woman. Like that's going to look really good.
I'm surprised like that you would even want pregnant people working there during that time.
Literally,
you know
come one, come all. They wanted anybody that had a pulse to help with the patients, unfortunately.
Okay, let's talk neurotoxins.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us the different things. I feel like I know some things, but I don't want to say it because
no, you're fine.
Botox. What else?
So there's five. There's 5 on the market.
Okay.
So
Botox coming out, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the one that everybody knows, I call her Beyonce because if you say her, you know who she is. So Botox has been out since 2002. It's been used for everything. So Botox, Dysport, Xeomin, Jeuveau, and then the newest one is Daxxify.
Okay.
So I would say how I explain it to my patients is that all of them have the same thing in common. They're temporarily going to stop the contraction of a muscle. So if you raise your brow, that's a contraction. Furrow your brow, contraction. You can also use it in things for like excessive sweating in your underarms or in your palms or your feet. You can do microtox for skin tightening. There's some pressure point tox that you can do, so it helps alleviate pain. I don't do that yet, but at some point maybe we'll add that on. But so that's the common consensus of it, is it's going to temporarily stop the contraction of a muscle. A lot of times patients will do it because they want to prevent lines, so just fine lines from like staying in their foreheads over time, and that's a really good way to do it. Anybody can do it for the most part after you take like a detailed history, but yeah, I mean, it works really good. A lot of people think, I would say the biggest misconception is that you're going to be frozen. Like, you are not going to be frozen for 3 months. That's just not how it works. You're not going to look fake. You're not going to look like you put your head out a windshield and you're just like, look, you know, like the wind, the wind's getting you, but it can look very natural. So I mean, all of them are really good.
Do you have a preference?
I love Dysport. So we use Dysport a lot. I would say biggest reason why is the price point. So it's a little bit cheaper for patients. It also works very effectively. And so we see it kick in around day 3 to 5 versus sometimes Botox, you wait and see that kick in around day 5 to 7.
So do patients have like a certain like preference sometimes, or?
Sometimes they do. So I'll have patients who've been a Botox user for years and they're like, I just want that.
Right.
Like, I know it works. I don't don't want to switch. I'm
a
doing
Diet
me.
Coke drinker, not a
Yes.
Pepsi
Yeah.
drinker.
It is literally the same. That like it's either your Diet Coke or your Pepsi,
And you're
so,
like, whatever.
Yeah, I don't care. So
Okay.
if it works for you, it works for you. It doesn't bother me any. But we use a lot of Dysport, and I would just say because if I can save the patient $1, like I'm going
Right.
to save them $1.
Yeah.
Well, also, I think a lot of people I talk to, like, I get Botox. Sorry, I call it Botox.
Yeah,
like
that's why it's
the name.
Beyonce. It's
Yes,
a blanket
yes.
term.
Dysport, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, in my forehead, and I've like gotten it a couple times around my eyes. But I tell people that, and they're like shocked, and they're like, "But isn't it so expensive?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, I don't get that much, so
Yeah.
like I don't think it's that expensive." But like, do people like get hung up on that, like when they come in with you, or like?
Yeah.
Do you do the consultations to then tell them that, or how does that work? Because I think a lot of people are surprised, like how, I mean, I guess expensive is a relative term, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's as bad as people think.
Yeah. So I actually think it can be super affordable if you choose to do it. It is an elective thing to do. Just like if you go in and decide you want to get your boobs done. Like
Right.
that's going
Yeah.
to be expensive.
So
So
I also think of it as like getting your hair dyed or cut and like
Yeah.
getting your
Yeah.
nails done.
Yes.
It's like built in like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, honey, I don't get my nails done. So.
yeah. Yeah. Some
Fair
people will
trade.
do that. Some people do that. They'll like trade
But
one
also,
for the
like,
other.
can you work within people's budgets and stuff? Or
So this is what I tell patients, unfortunately. Like
Okay.
if somebody comes in and they're like, okay, hey girl, like I understand that you want me to get 40 units in my upper face, but my budget says 200. And I'm like, okay, listen, I know you're balling on a budget, but come back when you can do the full dose. Because what happens is we get these baby doses. That's such a buzzword. It's such a term it's not accurate. So I tell patients, come back when you can do it, because if I give you a lower dose than what you deserve and what your muscle's telling me, you're not going to get very long out of the product. Your dose equals longevity. So if you don't get long out of the product, you're going to be like, oh, that didn't work, so I'm not going to come back because she took my money. But really, I was just trying to work within your budget.
Right.
So I always tell patients, like, this is your dose.
Like,
your dose
save
is your
up
dose.
for it.
So
And
like,
then-
don't do half, and then it might only last a month.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be upset, and you're going to have to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes
And then
sense.
sometimes they'll end up with a brow that's spocked, and then they can't come back and address it because they wouldn't let me do the full dose to treat the whole muscle.
because you have to really do like a balance.
Yes.
Yeah. How would
can't
you even
do-
pick and choose if they had that? You know.
So
like,
if somebody comes in and they're like, this is my budget, what can I do? I usually start with 3 areas: forehead, between the eyebrows, that 11s line, and then the crow's feet. That's the most common places that we get treated. But I like to look at patients and I'm like, this is what you need if you want to age appropriately. And I look at full facial balancing, because you can definitely treat the lower face, like the jawline, the chin, the neck. I always tell people, because I think it's very helpful if they know the things that I've had done. So I tell people like everything I get treated and with Dysport, and they're like, oh yeah, like fine, let's load it up, do what we got to do.
Right.
So that's helpful.
I agree. I like
Okay,
that.
can you talk to us about filler? For some reason, I'm like afraid of filler.
Everybody
I am
is.
too.
What's like your biggest fear of filler though?
Well, one time-
Migration. And it's
Yes.
like the mustache lip,
yeah.
the shadow.
And one
Yeah.
time I went with my friend to get that done, not where you work, and it
looks
looked like
scary.
the most painful thing.
Yeah.
Like tears. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So I would say the number one thing that people will tell me is why they are scared of filler is because they're afraid of like bad work or that it looks bad. And unfortunately, there's a lot of bad work walking around.
Well, like you said,
Indianapolis.
like it's not really regulated.
Also, I
Yeah.
feel like it's the thing where if something bad happens, you're going to hear about it versus if something good happens, it's, I'm naturally
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like on social media, the negative comments are louder
Yes.
than the positive.
Yes. So filler is a very easy way to look refreshed in a lot of patients. And if it's done correctly, it looks really beautiful. Again, I go back and tell patients everything that I've had done and how natural it can look. And I think that is really helpful for a patient. But unfortunately, again, everybody is looking for a deal. So they're going to go to that Groupon person in their
This is
basement
not the
on the
time.
couch.
This
It
is
is
not the
no,
time.
It's like, what
no.
do they say? Like, don't go for like cheap tattoos.
Yeah.
Or like,
yeah. There's a girl that a friend of mine, and she told me that the first time she ever got lip filler, it was by her dentist, and it was on his couch, and he let her keep the half syringe and just told her to put it in her fridge at home. And I'm like, absolutely
What?
not. Like,
For what?
We're not doing that.
Like,
So I
if
don't.
she needed a refill, like what?
I don't know.
How long does that last?
We don't save syringes. We don't share syringes. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's a wild, wild west out
You
there.
wouldn't know that about
can
like
do
sharing
filler-
syringes and stuff.
No.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
So you can do it in your lips and like where else do
Oh
people
yeah,
get
where
it?
else?
So
where
filler?
Yeah.
So you can put filler everywhere. So when I think of somebody, I'll do like temples, cheeks, under eyes, lips, jawline. Sometimes you can put it in the neck. That's not my first option, is to put it in the neck. You can put it in the back of the hands to rejuvenate the hands. And then there's actually a lot of medical things, not that we don't do them, but like some urologists will use them to help with like stress incontinence and by placing it in urethra. So there's a lot of things that you can do with filler. Cosmetically, we do more obviously that. So it just doesn't have to look bad.
Yeah.
Like,
How
it
long
really
does that
doesn't.
last?
So it's FDA indicated to last anywhere from 9 months to 18 months that's like depending on the filler.
But what does it mean last? Does it
So-
go away?
No. So there's a lot of new research coming out that's actually saying that we're getting a lot more longevity, or it's staying in there a lot longer. There's MRI studies, video imaging is coming out. So we're seeing that filler lasts a lot longer in the face, but people, especially in lips, for example, they can't feel it anymore. Like they're like, oh, I don't feel that it's there. It's still there. You just can't feel it.
Is
It's
it there
integrated.
forever? Or
Not forever.
dissolves?
Your body eventually will break it down a little bit more. Over years, it breaks it down. But that whole stipulation where you have to come in every year and get your lips done, like that's how people get overdone. Or you have to come in every year and get your cheeks done because it goes away. Like that's a lie. So
But it can move,
Yeah,
right?
talk about like dissolving.
yeah. So filler can migrate for a number of reasons. So when it migrates, it just basically is going to an area of the tissue that it's not supposed to go to. For instance, like if you get your lips done, that's the most common place we see it. If you get your lips done and it goes outside the vermilion border, that's when you kind of get that mustache look. Or another common place is, a lot of people don't notice it, is it goes inside this wet, dry border of the lip.
I noticed that, and it looks like it's coming, like
Yeah.
your lips flipping.
Like if you have somebody that smiles and they have migrated lip filler, it almost looks like they've got little like blocks
Yeah.
Yes,
underneath
and
that.
it looks like dry.
Yeah.
like-
Yeah.
Like you need chapstick.
Yes. Yes.
So can you fix that, or that's
So we dissolve it. So you dissolve it.
So just start over.
Yep. So most of those patients need it dissolved. And that usually happens for a number of reasons. It can be wrong filler for the tissue type. It can be injection technique was incorrect. It can be that the patient is a lip biter, and so they're going to bite their lip and move that filler around more. It can be that they went to somebody over and over again that just couldn't tell them no, and they just kept filling and filling and filling. So there's lots of reasons why migration happens. So if somebody comes to me and they want lip filler done and I've never done it before, I will almost always dissolve them before I ever put anything
Yeah,
in.
that's
Because
smart.
if I...
Because you don't know what's in there.
If I put something in there and you already had lip filler in there and you come back and you're like, girl, I hate my lips. And I'm like, that's on
not
me.
you. Yeah,
now it's
but-
my
right.
work and I have to
Right.
fix it.
So if you dissolve it, do they have to wait before you fill it, or
Yeah, so I'm actually working with a patient right now, and so we've done one. She's had a particular filler in her lips. She's went once a year, every year for 6 years to a different person, and so she's been my patient for a while, and so we finally addressed her lips. We dissolved them. She came back 2 weeks later. We dissolved again, and when we dissolve it, it just breaks up that filler. So it breaks up the filler, and then your body kind of absorbs it.
Okay.
And so I usually confirm that it's gone. We use an ultrasound to make sure that it's not there anymore. And then she'll actually come back in 4 weeks and let that tissue heal, and then we'll refill.
Okay, so you aren't going to get that in Joe Schmo's basement down
No,
the
ma'am.
street.
No, ma'am.
No
No, ma'am.
ultrasound
yeah, with
machine.
his ultrasound machine on the couch?
It might look
You can
like
see if
one.
you're
It's
pregnant
not.
and you can see if your lip filler's
It'll
still there.
probably be hooked up to like a ring light and then an iPhone camera, and then he'll be like, "Yep, that is definitely filler." It's gonna be real jank. Yeah, you get what you pay for, though.
I know.
You
but
do.
And this is your face, so we got to
Yeah.
Yes.
do it right.
But you'd be surprised how many people are like balling on a budget, and they'll be like, "Oh, $200, that sounds great. I'll have that."
know.
But it is what it is.
I know.
So
Well, and if you just do what you say, you don't have to spend the money as often, and you get exactly how you want it to look.
the shocking
You know?
part is how much people will spend. So they'll spend $200 on Joe Schmo to do their lips or do something, and then they'll come to the office and they'll say, "All right, well, I want this done." I'm like, "No, we have to start over." And then the cost for you to dissolve that, because if I did that and that's my work, 100%, I'll dissolve that. No charge. That's my fault.
Yeah.
if somebody comes up to me and that's not my work, you're going to pay for that to get done because you're paying for somebody's expert opinion. And so I've been doing this for 5 years, and I always say, like, I'm just not going to give out what's in my head for free.
Yeah.
So that sounds wild.
No, that's
No,
true.
that's how it should be.
So yeah, I mean, they're going to pay for like a couple $100s, even up to in other places like LA. I mean, to dissolve, it's like thousands of dollars. Like
Really?
you're going to end up with thousands of dollars of it just trying to fix it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So do
it's
it right.
fine.
Do it right the first time, people.
Or wait till you can.
Yeah. If you don't have the money to do it, then just save until you can. So it's not a necessity. If your
Right.
lips are thin yesterday, they're going to be thin in a month. Just
And
wait
it's not
until you
like
have the money.
affecting your health.
Yeah. Just give it a minute.
Give it a minute.
Yeah. Calm down.
All right. What's one thing you would recommend to all patients?
Skincare.
Okay. Tell us about that.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Because I need to be in on this.
So in my personal opinion, and I tell all of my patients this, if you are going in with like all of the aesthetic services, injectables, Sculptra, microneedling, lasers, all of these things, but your skin looks like hell, then we're not doing it right. So it's like building this really beautiful cake and then having shit frosting on top of it. So
And then also, like, your makeup doesn't look good on top of that, right?
Yes. I always say too, like, let's say that you go in for a facelift, you get a facelift, you have this really beautiful lift, and you have a full face of acne. You're not going to appreciate the facelift.
Right.
So and it's also inexpensive, like
Like, that's a good
invest
place
in
to
that.
start.
Yeah. So if you come in and you're like, I can't really afford injectables, I can't do this. Invest in your skincare, because you're probably already blowing that at Sephora or Ulta.
Yeah.
Buying skincare that's
random
not for
things.
your skin.
Yeah.
So a lot of skin conditions are because of oil production. So you have to control the oil production to control your acne, your rosacea, your melasma, all of those things. And majority of what I see is not just aging faces. I see actually a lot of skin conditions. And so we have to actually address like what's going on. Sometimes it's root cause. Sometimes it's what are you eating? Like what's going on with your diet, your health overall, your thyroid. Sometimes that can take a huge
But it's nice
issue.
that, like, they're there and with you, and then you can just be like, well, if this is it, you can just go over
Yeah.
to the other side.
Yeah.
Get that figured out.
I have a lot of patients that come in for like eczema or psoriasis, and I send them to the medical side because we can do things that are anti-inflammatory to help them. So we can help with like offer ozone treatments just to help lower some inflammation in their bodies. Patients who I've been working with rosacea or acne and the skincare alone's not working, we'll do like elimination diets, like let's try to cut out a little bit of dairy. And I'm like the pot calling the kettle black because I love food. But yeah, let's cut out some dairy. Let's try cutting out some eggs.
Yeah.
Try not to eat
But
so
I mean,
much.
if you really want to
Yeah.
get it figured out, then you'll do it, right?
Yeah. You
So
would hope.
what kind of skincare do you carry? Do you, or is it different ones?
So we carry two brands.
Okay.
Majority of what I carry and majority of what I prescribe is Zeo Skin Health. We also carry Elastin. I love Zeo Skin Health's brand because it truly heals the skin from
that
the
the
inside
blue?
out. It's the blue,
Okay.
like
Oh,
the
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
packaging. So I think I'm medical, so I think the skin as an organ, it is. So I like to treat the skin from the inside out. So we have to work on, you have 2 layers of skin, or 2 layers to the skin that are most important. Your epidermis is all of your cells. Your dermis is right under that. That's going to house like your follicle, your collagen, your elastin, all of that. So Zeo's line really pushes their skincare into the dermis to create a change in the skin. So it's one of my favorite. I've been using it for 5 years. I've been prescribing it for 5 years, and I have not yet had anybody that has not had success with it.
Can people get that without being a patient, or do they have to be a patient?
So Zeo is a medical skin line.
Okay.
So in order to even carry it in an office, you have to be have a medical director.
Okay.
So we have a medical director that's over us for all the things that we do because we're RNs and NPs.
Is that who I think it is? I don't want to say.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say?
Oh, I don't know.
Porto?
Yeah, Dr. Porto.
Yeah,
Dr.
okay.
Stephen Porto. He's our medical director. He's a cosmetic surgeon, and he is great at his craft, and he's who we go to if we aesthetically need help with anything as well. But yeah, so you can get at the practice. You don't have to be a patient of the medical side. There's no access
For
fee
aesthetics.
For aesthetics, yep. So I'm
But
always
do they have to
taking-
be like see you?
They
to
have
get
to
it?
see me to
Okay.
get it. Yeah. Yeah.
So like, could they get it if they did a skin consultation? Or,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you can order it online, but it's
Okay.
one of those things too. Like, let's
Like,
say
how
that,
do you know what to get?
yeah.
Right.
So like, let's just say you guys are like, you know what? I really liked what she was talking about. Let me just go online and figure out if I can find it. But if you just order a random program,
Yeah.
you don't even know if that's going to work for your skin
And
or
like,
not.
you're probably gonna waste money again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Here we go.
Here
It's
we
like
go.
a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
No,
The people
yeah.
that are saying that are the ones that are like
Yeah.
not using
Yeah.
it correctly.
Yeah, I think that people think that they can just kind of do whatever, which is fine. But and if you're sitting in my chair, I'm like, well, whatever you're doing is not working. So why don't we try something new?
Yeah. And obviously, if they're coming to you, it's for a reason. Like,
Mm-hmm.
something's not working.
Let's fix it.
Yeah.
Let's fix your face.
Let's fix it. You're so pretty how you are, but like I
But-
think we can do better. Listen, I wish somebody would say that to me sometimes when I started out. Because, man, I was haggard when I started out.
No, I feel like, do you look at people like when you're out and about and think,
Yeah, like,
ooh,
right now I'm
they
like,
need
what
this.
is
I
she
know, I'm
thinking
like,
of
my
my
face? I would
face,
never.
This needs touched up. It's fine. Everything's
So
fine.
I always tell how I act towards like my friends and stuff. I'm like, oh girl, we gotta like fix that line in your forehead. Like I would never point that out to a patient sitting in my chair. If you sit in my chair, like the first thing that we talk about is what bothers you. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go
You're
in there
not
and be
gonna
like,
point it out.
"Whoo, girl, we got some work to do." Like I just would never. That's so rude.
But like, do you say it in your head when you see people like on the street?
kinda.
I mean,
At least,
like
like,
not all
yeah.
the time.
Huge lips,
Yeah.
But
but,
every
like,
once in a while,
yeah.
you're probably like, ooh.
Yeah. Sometimes
I
I'll,
mean, as a
Yes.
photographer, seeing other people's photography, I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh, that was missed. Or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, ooh, that's not
Oh,
in focus.
what's the lady? She was I think she was Real Housewives of Orange County or Beverly Hills. One of those. But she's like an injector. She's a doctor. Have you seen her TikTok where I was just talking to Lexi about this. She'll do like a before and after, not her work, but of like famous people, actors.
And say what they have
she'll
done?
She'll walk you through like starting at their forehead and going down
I
like everything
hate
she
that.
thinks they had
I
done.
hate that. I will tell you
But
one
she's
of
mean. Like
one of my biggest icks, and this goes along with just picking people apart in your chair, is putting Hollywood on
Blast.
your page and being like, all right, this is what's going on here, and this what you have no idea.
Right.
You do not know what's
Right.
going on, and now you're just picking somebody apart, and then you're making it look like it's okay to do.
And these
Right.
people
So then
see
five
this
other
and they get mad.
five other social media
Yeah, I don't like
influencing
that.
injectors do the same thing, and they're like, oh, we're pointing it out, or nobody asked for your opinion.
Right.
Okay, let's
Right.
closet it. Deal with your patients, and who cares what Kylie Jenner's doing? It's not that big of a deal.
But also, like, Kylie Jenner has a lot more money than these people. So let's.
Yeah, and she doesn't
Zip it.
care.
Right.
Leave her alone.
I'm dead.
Okay, we had a couple people on Instagram write in some questions for you. Okay, so the first one, which is probably like a lot of people our age like wonder this too, is like what steps do you recommend in a skincare routine for someone with aging skin?
So if I had to pick one product for aging skin, it would be a retinol.
Wait, I was going to ask these questions. I've been on the TikToks, and all lately it's like SPF, retinol. But what's the other one? Tretinoin?
So tretinoin and retinols are it's a
Is that
class
the same
of a retinol.
thing?
Yeah. So
okay.
so
'Cause I'm
tretinoins
like,
are
I
your
need to get me
prescription.
a ret or a tret.
Yeah. So tretinoin. This is like a whole we could have like a whole nother podcast on this.
Okay, I need to come in.
So I would first just say get a consult. My consults are free. So
Oh, they are?
yeah. So
how
you
long
don't.
is it? Like 10 minutes?
So 40 minutes. We go
Oh,
over a
my
full
goodness.
set.
You
Yeah.
need to charge for that.
I'm just really
She's gotta get 'em in the
nice.
door, and
I'm
then we-
really nice. No, I just truly.
Call into Yoo Direct and mention Scuttlebutt Club for your free consult.
Yes. And they're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's free. And I'm like, I know. It's so crazy.
Don't say we didn't give you anything.
So aging skin is tough. So when you think about aging skin, you're losing that epidermis and that dermis. They're thinning. So we're losing elasticity. We're losing collagen. We're losing all of those like healthy features to the skin. So a lot of times I see patients that are coming in and they're starting late to the game. And so we have to really go at it aggressive to kind of turn back time a little bit. But if I would say anything, like 3 products that you'd had to do, I would say definitely a good cleanser to wash something to exfoliate, and then I would do something to rebuild your skin barrier. So there's different options out there on the market, but in my opinion, Zio is like superior. So I mean, really, you just it's going to be a
So
process.
wait, what is a ret?
Oh yeah, we fell off a wagon.
Sorry,
there.
I know.
So retinols are something, it's like a blanket that you could use for just about anything.
Okay.
So acne, give it some retinol. Aging skin, give it some retinol.
Is it like a cream?
Yep. So it's a cream and it goes up in dosing. So a lot of people hear about tretinoins. So tretinoins are typically prescribed. You get it at your pharmacy. You can get it at a compound pharmacy. I don't start with tretinoins. I would probably say I maybe have 2 patients out of
Is that like more aggressive?
Yeah. I probably have 2 patients out of my couple hundreds of patients that are on tretinoins.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why is if you just go there right out the gate, you're not going to use it. It's too strong. You're going to have irritation, redness, peeling, and your patient's just not going to go through with it. So I start them off with a low dose of a retinol, like a 0.5%, and then we work our way up to a higher dose.
Got it.
And so it's that way your patient's actually going to be a little bit better at doing it.
It's fine.
It's just getting your patient compliant with it. And if you have a patient that's going to have peeling, redness, irritation, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do it. So you just have to explain to the patient. So is that
why they always ask when you get like your eyebrows done, like if you're on that?
Yeah, because it makes your skin more sensitive.
Or like not go out in the sun.
Yeah, and make sure you're wearing SPF if you're on that.
Yep. So you have to wear SPF when you're on it. But you should be wearing SPF every day. Yeah.
Listen, I got a big old bucket hat. We've done too much damage.
Yeah, there's a lot of money here. I just cannot mess it up. We cannot. I think that you just need to find somebody that knows what they're talking about, and then they'll give you a regimen that's most specific to anti-aging for you. Because what's good
Carmen, and she's accepting new patients.
Yeah, it's me. If you if either of you go, like if you guys came in, like you might have a completely different regimen than what she has. So you guys are all going to have a completely different regimen than Janet. So I mean, it's just different. Yeah. It's just different. So
okay, I like that.
So and also, does your skin produce less collagen the older you get? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. So that's why a huge thing that we do is Sculptra. So Sculptra is biostimulator. No, I know. Threads are so scary. They're so scary.
Wait, tell us. I think I've heard the noise of a thread and it makes me want to gag and I can't.
Yeah.
Tell us Sculptra first.
So Sculptra is a biostimulator. It's an injectable.
We're getting excited.
So it's injected?
Yeah. So you inject it into the skin and it actually helps to stimulate your own collagen.
So it's not filler.
It's technically a filler, but it's not. So it starts out in a powder. So it comes in a vial and it's a powder.
Okay.
When we get ready to inject it, I mix it with sterile water and lidocaine and we inject it into the skin.
Is it a bunch of little or just like?
So typically I make like 1 or 2 little like, I call little pilot holes in the skin and then we glide it into the tissue. And so it either goes deep, closer to bone, wherever you have your fibroblasts. Your fibroblasts are going to help with the collagen stimulation, or it's going to go more superficial.
So that's going to tighten things up.
The goal is to give a subtle volume over time, and then it's going to help give you more elasticity to the skin. So those like smile lines that we get, the little jowls that we get, some women have a lot of temporal hollowing. That's typically where we see aging most in women. And so you can put it there to give yourself a little bit of volume. The best part about it is that it lasts 2 years. So it's under the skin for 2 years. Okay. You see the peak results around 6 months. So it's one of those low and slow type of things. A lot of people are losing a lot of weight because of certain shots out there. And so this is the one that I tell them, like, this is what you want. Because if you lose 100 pounds, then what I put filler in you at 100 pounds heavier is going to look so different to you than 100 pounds lighter. Right. So I tell people to do Sculptra while they're on that weight loss journey for sure, because that's going to help with that skin elasticity and that little bit of that sagginess that you get.
Yeah. Does that hurt?
No. I've had it done myself. Everybody's had different pain tolerance, but I've had it done myself.
You're a baby.
Honestly, I had it done myself and I did fine. I just go to my happy place and then I just I'm good.
I think after you have kids,
what is pain?
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's nothing. It's fine.
Okay, what was the second thing? Oh, threads.
So everybody has an opinion on threads. Okay. It's what you either like them or you hate them. I don't care for them personally because I think it depends on the population that you have. So the majority of the women that we are going to be anywhere from their 30s to, I would say, 50s, 60s. So it seems like a wide population, but in that population, it's just more mature women. Most of the time, if you are coming to my office and you want threads, the women that are wanting them, they need a facelift. So the thousands of dollars you're going to spend me to put threads in your face, you could put that down for a payment for a much happier outcome, and then come to me and we'll do some filler, and then we'll kind of put some volume in there. So I don't have time to waste your money. I don't have time to waste for you whatsoever. And that's just one of those things that I think is like a time waster.
So that goes under the skin, correct?
Yeah. So think of like the stem of a rose, and it has like little barbs on it. So that goes into the skin.
That's the noise I'm hearing.
Yeah. It pulls you up like by the rafters, and then you hear like a pop, 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 and it's like anchoring itself.
Does it stay in there?
So they're
Wait.
dissolvable sutures.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
so it's they're dissolvable sutures. They go under the skin.
Off the seat.
I know. They're dissolvable sutures. They go in. They last anywhere from 4 to 6 months, and they're going to slowly dissolve over time. But while they're there, they kind of get this little collagen matrix that forms around the thread, and then that helps to kind of keep it lifted. But what I found is, one, it's super painful for some people. Some people, they're like, oh yeah, it's not bad at all. But a majority are like, I don't like this. The downtime for it, like, again, they don't like it. The pain from it, the hand holding, like, you just might as well get a facelift. Like, it's just not.
Go
it's
to
not
Porto and get a facelift.
He does body. He does body.
Do that?
No, he does do our upper blephs, upper and lower blephs. So he takes that little bit of eyelid skin off and the lower eyelid skin off. So we refer a lot of people to him for that. And then he does body contouring. Okay. So like breast augmentation, tummy tucks, things like that.
Love it. All right. What was our other question?
Okay. So if someone's never had like Botox or filler and they're thinking about it, well, I feel like we've already answered this, but like, where do you recommend starting? A free consultation?
Yeah. So do a free consultation and just see what you're like eligible to do. So I would say majority of patients start out with Dysport. The first 3 things I start most patients out is skincare, Dysport, and Sculptra. That's almost everybody gets that little trifecta. And then once we're done with Sculptra, then we go into filler and we're like, okay, like, how are you feeling about that? Because most people need filler for revolumization of the face. So your Sculptra is going to be more of like if you think about a house, your Sculptra is going to be like the painting and the outside of the house, and then your filler is going to be all the structure basically. So most people need all of it, but if you wanted to start out slow, I would say Dysport is a really good way to like dip your toes in the water.
The gateway drug?
Gateway drug. Get yourself a lip flip. That's a gateway drug into lip filler. Yep. You're coming back. I already know you're coming back.
Because they want more, right?
Yeah. So people like that.
When people get a boob job and they're like, no, always go bigger.
Yeah. Always get the bigger size.
But also, I feel like you know what it should be at its biggest, so you can like maybe be like, let's not do too.
Because you can always
aggressive
add more, right?
Well, so that's the thing is you can't. So,
but like with filler.
Yeah. So with filler, like once you're like, especially like your lips, your cheeks, once they're like at capacity, like elevator's full. Like we can't put more in there just because you want this big obnoxious look. So I think the other thing that's really important is making sure you're going to an injector or somebody who's knowledgeable enough to say no, like this is not like, going to look good. You're going to
tell them.
You don't need a yes girl.
Yes. You need to be able to say no and then educate why.
The blindness. Yeah. I feel like lips are such a trend of like, you know.
Well, there's so many different trends of lips. Like Russian lip is a really big one, which it kind of looks like a Bratz doll lip. And that's really big amongst like your 20-year-olds. And so I do not do that. I refuse to do it because 9 times out of 10, they're going to have migration. And so I think what's nice is I can choose the clientele that I want. And not that I don't want a 20-year-old. That's great. But there's not a lot to do for a 20-year-old.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you seeing like younger and younger?
I would say my youngest patient is 28.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we do Dysport with her. Dysport, we've done some under eye PRP with her.
Because I want to say I started getting it at 30 maybe.
Yeah. I think that people are, and this again kind of goes into a different podcast, but people are getting it younger and younger. And so these 21, 22-year-olds, and I love a good TikTok trend, but people are getting it at 21, 22, they're getting lip filler and cheek filler and jawline filler, and they're getting the responses that they're looking way older than 21 and 22. Yeah. And so if you keep going down that route, like you're going to look like a 50-year-old when you're 30. Yeah. So whereas people that are kind of doing it in their 30s and their 40s, they're kind of turning back time a little bit. So it's just a delicate like dance that you have to do. And I do think that even people need to be comfortable with saying to a 21, 22-year-old, like, hey, you're beautiful the way you are. You don't need this lip enhancement. You don't need more cheeks. Like you've got great support. But we're just not there yet. So
I know. I feel like that's the hard thing with like social media too. And like filters and all of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The aesthetic that I see now is these very pointy chins.
Everyone wants to be like snatched.
Yeah. pointy chins, high cheekbones, and Russian lips is what I see a lot on social media. And so that is not the way the face is supposed to look. So you're going to look aged and abnormal, which is not, that's why people don't get filler.
You
and what happens when that trend's over?
You aren't Adriana Lima in the early 2000s.
Yes.
So.
Listen, that's why people don't get fillers, because there's just a lot of bad stuff out there. And it's just not true.
Kyle's always like, I don't care what you do, but like, don't look fake.
When I come home after getting my lips done, my husband
your lips look so good. I can't quit looking at them.
So I've had 3 syringes of filler in my lips.
Like, I can't tell that.
See?
No, it looks good.
Yeah. I love.
Who does your lips?
I love it. Lex did my lips.
Oh, wait, do you do anything on your own self?
Like, do I inject myself?
Yeah.
No, Lexi's done all of mine.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But you can like tell her, right? Like, do
What?
this. Like, I'm sure you tell her.
Like, I'll walk in there and be like, all right, sis, like, we're ready for some under eyes, or I need some Dysport or whatever.
Do you do filler under eye?
So I get Dysport every 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
And I actually get my underarms Dysported because I sweat profusely.
I'm a big sweater too.
It's so good.
But is that
so
like
good.
going to cause problems? That's what I worry about. Like, are we supposed to sweat?
If you want to sweat, then I guess it's a problem, but I prefer not to. No, people are like, oh, it's going to cause you to sweat in other places. Great, but I don't have to soak my t-shirt I would run wet t-shirt contest in the middle of my day.
I'm like Sweaty Betty, so
yeah. So I get Dysport every 3 to 4 months. I've had my lips done 3 times. I have cheek filler, under eye filler, chin filler, jawline filler, Sculptra.
We're exposing you.
I've not everything I've not
like,
said on
I'm
my
an
social
open book.
media.
I'm an open book.
I do microneedling. I have Zeos. I do a lot of Zeo Skin Health on myself. I've done PRP in my under eyes. I mean,
do you recommend
everything. PRP?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So anything that's going to be collagen inducing, like that's like ideal.
I feel like
can you get that in your
thing.
stomach?
Everywhere the light touches.
Everywhere the light
I feel like
touches.
having Rocco, so like maybe I'm like too old now.
You aren't.
My stomach is like, it's not like the skin is like,
the skin elasticity doesn't bounce back.
It's like looser.
So that I'll actually put Sculptra in a lot of women that I have a couple tummy photos on my Instagram, and they are of basically women that they're fit, but the elasticity in their skin is just not good after their kids. So I would choose Sculptra in that area over PRP. Not that you can't do PRP, but you're going to get a bigger pack for your punch.
Mm-hmm. Your social media is a really good resource too.
Thank you so much. I work really hard on it. It's like my baby.
No, it's so great.
It's like my
baby. Talking about that, you do run specials.
Yep.
So for those budget babes that need to keep it tight, like watch out for that, right?
Yes.
Will you post that on there? Or
Yep. So quarterly specials, I've moved them to quarterly. They used to be monthly, but now I've been currently booking out about 6 to 8 weeks.
I was gonna say that seems like
it's hard to get people in.
Like I saw
before the
that.
specials over. Yeah. So quarterly specials. Another good way to save money is that we use mostly Galderma products. So Restylane filler, Sculptra is the biostimulator, Dysport is the neurotoxin that we use, and so setting up an Aspire account actually gets you money back on services that you do. You can also look for gift cards. Sometimes they'll do like a promo. It's like buy a $50 gift card and it's worth $100. So those are really good ways to kind of save money.
I think if you sign up for their emails, because like whenever I get an email, it's like we're using your points or like we're running a special. So like that's a good thing to keep out and look for.
Yeah. So those are good ways to save money.
Yeah.
But if you come with me to Groupon, we're not.
You do not.
We're
Is
not
that
it.
still a thing?
I don't know.
I hope not.
I don't know. Listen.
Okay, we need to tell everyone where to find you.
Yeah.
So I am located at Yoo Direct Health. It's spelled YOO. It's in Noblesville, Indiana.
By Costco.
It's right across
down
from
the new Costco.
That is so dangerous.
I was gonna say, just pop it in on your way home, right?
Yes. So
I want to do a Costco haul.
You should.
With like our mini
oh my
bites.
gosh, have you had the s'mores things from Costco?
Wait, I'm laughing so hard.
obsessed.
She's obsessed with them, but they're so
They're
good.
so good.
Last time I went to get injected by Lexi, I was like, I'm gonna pop into Costco after this, and I was like, no, I look crazy. Like I
You're
could
fine.
not go in there.
You should
I
see
felt like I
people-
looked crazy.
No, people like
I
leave the
literally
office
called my
and
mom.
they're
I'm
like
Janet,
bloody
she's like,
after
are you
a
gonna go to
microneedle.
Costco? I'm like, I feel like I can't go.
You can totally do it.
But I
Nobody
wanted
cares.
to so bad.
Listen, nobody cares.
I know.
Nobody
it just
cares.
made me laugh. But I was like, oh, it was so tempting.
Oh, because you want those s'mores.
Yeah, they're so good. She's
They're
never
so
had
good.
them.
No, diabetes.
Don't do it.
They're
Diabetes.
so good.
Like you'll get it?
No, I have it.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
I can figure it out.
I'm probably on my way to diabetes too. It's fine.
No, I'm type 1. You know this.
You don't even look like a type 1.
No, that's not okay. This is different. Different podcast.
Man.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh,
where to find you?
Yeah.
Social media.
So-
What's your handle?
So my handle is ydh_nurse Carmen.
we'll post that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tag that.
And then I am taking new aesthetic patients. So you don't have to be a member of the practice to take advantage of aesthetic services. So as far as the medical side goes, there's a access fee that you have to pay. You don't have to do any of that with the aesthetic side. Okay. So taking new patients.
Like, are your DMs open if people have like, hey,
Yeah.
should I do this or that? Or
yeah,
like,
people shoot me messages all the time.
Okay.
So I'm okay with DMs. If you want to book though, then usually I'll refer them to the office to book, just because they take in some like medical information and stuff like that when you do it. But yeah, other than that,
okay,
slide in there.
love it. What else? Oh, one more person said you were the best. I forgot to mention that. The best.
Yeah, and I saw Kelsey Murphy gave you a shout out on her Insta
I love
stories
her.
the other
She's
day.
very nice. She's very nice. She's sweet.
Are you gonna ask her the last question?
Yes. Okay, so we ask all our guests this question.
Okay.
Okay, if you had friends or family coming to visit you and coming to town to visit you, like where are you going to go? Where are you going to eat? What are you going to take them to do?
Ooh, so this is great because my family actually lives out of town. So whenever they come to town, we do Fishers a lot. So we really like the like downtown area since they've kind of revamped it. I love that area. Have you guys been down there to like, I don't even know what it's called. It's like the nickel plate area. Yeah. So we take them down there. We like that a lot.
What's your favorite restaurant?
I haven't tried Tiburon yet, but I really want to try that.
You're gonna
Is
love
it? Because
Yeah.
I
Do
am
you like sushi and stuff?
I'm like a mussels, like give me like mussels
Oh,
and a good
yeah.
wine. Like I am set, and maybe some French fries.
Yeah.
That I'm down for. But yeah, like we'll do that a lot. I would say like we go to Ale Emporium a lot.
Oh,
That's like a big one. So yeah, those are kind of like our favorites, and we'll hit up IKEA.
Oh, yeah.
There's not an IKEA where they live.
I know, it just made me laugh. But when it came here, it was like the biggest deal ever.
Yeah. Listen, it's a big deal.
Wait, where are they from?
So they live north of Fort Wayne, and my in-laws
Not
do.
in Attica.
No, so my husband's family, when they come to visit.
Okay.
When my family comes to visit, we mostly just kind of like hang out and just like play cards. So nothing crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
This is very informative.
Yes.
Hopefully,
No
it
one needs
was.
to be scared.
Yeah. Don't
of
be
any of
scared.
this.
It's not that serious.
No.
It really isn't until it is. But
Till it's too late.
till your lips fall off because you got injected in somebody's basement.
Wait, that is something, right? Like if you hit something,
Yes.
it can like die.
Yeah, so you can have tissue death from.
Yeah, guys, we aren't.
It's bad, but that's why you go to somebody who knows what they're
Right.
doing,
Yeah.
who has like
Right.
safety protocols. Because it's not like it will happen at some point. Like I always say, like at some point in my career, like I'm going to have some sort of adverse event. But if it does, like I've been ready for it. So it's kind of like in the ICU, they say it's not if somebody codes, it's when somebody's code. You just have to be prepared for it. So.
You can't be scared if you're prepared.
No.
And
you can have a little bit of like a moment to freak out, but don't do it in front of your patient.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
being here. All right. See everybody next Tuesday.